what the government should pay attention to.
Professor Falola is an intellectual and historian with the University of Texas. In this interview with Channels TV, he analyzed perfectly Tinubu's knee-jerk and panicky reaction to the nationwide hunger protests. He also warned that Tinubu should be worried about the spontaneous, unannounced hunger protests that will come in the future, just like it happened in Bangladesh, in Kenya, and many other parts of the world, where people didn't give any notice to the government. They simply spontaneously trooped out en masse and started protesting, just like it happened during the Arab Spring in the Arab world. After we hear his analysis, we will hear what P2B said about Nigerians living in fear and the widespread insecurity plaguing the country, and also the kind of protests Nigerians should be embarking on right now. Protests shouldn't be just about trooping out and protesting, wearing berets and waving placards. You can be protesting while going to work, while eating, while doing your normal business. Let's take a listen.
Aso Rock's fundamental reaction is, I don't want my government to be destabilized. Nobody wanted to destabilize his government. Of course, some elements in the north took advantage with the Russian flag, called for marijuana, called for coup. But the protest was not about destabilizing his government. The protesters were not calling for a coup. Of course, in Kaduna they did, but that was not the original intention. The protest was to say, we are very hungry. Are they not hungry? They are. But at the end of the day, we are lucky that there were no damages. People were expecting Igbo Yoruba warfare in Lagos. It didn't happen. So but the fundamentals that produce the protest are still there. And what the government should pay attention to, that it is the undated or announced unplanned protests that is more dangerous. Because you cannot control that one. This one, they are noticed August 1 to 10. You can put your army and police on the streets. But the protest to fear is like that of Bangladesh, like that of Kenya, in which you lose control and you cannot contract, as you have been doing, to the police and army, the management of the streets. As you see in Bangladesh, if you give them that contract, thousands of people will definitely lose their lives.
Professor Falola is right. The poor manner Tinubu and his handlers handled the protests, especially his uninspiring speech that failed to address not even a single demand of the protesters, it frustrated a lot of people. This frustration might have caused many people to deviate from the original objective. It might have also caused people to start waving Russian flags, to start calling for military to take over, to start doing everything to find a way to drive their point home, so as to force the government to at least yield to one or two of their demands. And like the prof said, this might make many people to plan a spontaneous, unannounced protest in the future. Because going by how the government handled the last one, when they were given an advance notice of more than 3 weeks, and they ended up not even addressing a single demand of the protesters, there's no need doing it the same way, because they already know that nothing will come out of it. So a spontaneous, unannounced protest might be coming in the future. And where it ends, no one can say. It's completely unpredictable. Now to P2B's reaction to the spate of kidnappings and other crimes across the country the past few days. The latest being the kidnapping of 20 dental students who were on their way to a conference. They were kidnapped in Benue State, also in Sokoto State. An emir was kidnapped. Many high-profile kidnappings across the country. Writing on his verified X handle, P2B said, quote, "When I say we should declare war on the economy, power and insecurity, some people spin the narrative while others complain. But what else can we do? In the past 24 hours, several people have been kidnapped across Nigeria, including about 20 dental students from Maiduguri and Jos in Benue State. An Anambra State commissioner and his wife were abducted in Edo State, and others traveling with them were killed. These are just a few of the many tragic incidents happening across the country. We cannot continue living in fear, poverty, and darkness. It's time for bold action, collective resolve, and a united front against these challenges. We must declare war on this massive insecurity and other ills that threaten our society and work tirelessly to build a safer, more prosperous, and just society for all." Unquote. You see, whether we like it or not, insecurity is always linked to poverty. Not that it is excusable to be involved in crimes, but it is a trend. Anywhere you see massive insecurity, there is always massive poverty. This is why all the IMF failed policies that Tinubu is forcing down the throats of Nigerians, it has never worked anywhere in the world. There are many countries that rejected these IMF policies, like Malaysia in the 90s. They rejected it. Today they are prosperous. So it has been proven that these policies only end up impoverishing the people. After all, the IMF guys that are pushing these policies only care about their money. They want to make sure that the people they are giving loans are able to repay these loans. That's why they push the devaluation of currency, which they are now calling floating of naira. They also push for removal of all subsidies, which has ended up causing massive poverty in Nigeria. And the more poor people are, the more likely they will be involved in crimes. All the bandits, terrorists, and many people with dubious ideologies, it is very easy for them to recruit people. Just 1,000, 2,000, they can recruit them to do all their dirty jobs for them. So apart from fighting the insecurity physically, the government must at least try to reduce poverty. If they create avenues for businesses to thrive, Nigerians will thrive on their own. They wouldn't need any government help. They wouldn't need any palliative or other support. Just make sure that things that they need to survive. If people are farmers, you make sure they are able to go to their farms and return. They wouldn't have any fear of insecurity or anything. All other businesses, the same way, whatever they need, provide it for them, or at least make sure life is easy for them. The government will succeed in reducing insecurity to about 50%. Even the Chief of Defense Staff once said that they cannot finish the job alone without the government providing good governance. So it's a known fact. That's why if you see the way Peter Obi worded his speech, you will see that he started from poverty, that we need to create a prosperous nation for all, a country that will work for everyone, not just for the elites. Now to the type of protests people should be embarking on. You see, when the nationwide hunger protests happened, many people were against it. Many people simply criticized, not that they were supporting the government against the protesters, but they didn't just want to take part in the protest. Some were giving all sorts of excuses. They were saying, the Northerners, where were they during Buhari's 8 years? They never protested. Protest was haram at the time. Today they are protesting. Many people had one axe or the other to grind with the protesters. But look at what is happening today. 20 dental students were kidnapped. These are future doctors and professionals in the medical field. And another thing is the worrying audacity of the kidnappers. They told these young people to tweet about their ordeal on social media so that they can raise funds to liberate themselves. The audacity to do this kind of thing. It shows that they weren't even concerned or bothered about being tracked by security agents, because imagine people in captivity in a hidden location, tweeting and connecting to social media. Wouldn't that reveal their location? So it shows the serious security failure in Nigeria. All the security agents, they are only good at tracking protesters. Throughout the protest, they were busy threatening Nigerians, arresting anyone. They were using the entire security apparatus and technology to threaten Nigerians when they were supposed to use them to serve and defend Nigerians. So the point here is that everyone must continue to protest in any manner that you can, because you can never run away from happenings in Nigeria. Once you are in Nigeria or even abroad, one day you might see yourself coming back to Nigeria to see your relatives. The same happenings, the same crime-infested country, the same every problem that people are going through in this country can affect you. So people must start to protest in any manner they can. Keep talking about bad governance wherever you are, on social media, on your WhatsApp status, everywhere, Facebook, YouTube. Keep talking about it. Like already said, you can not only protest when you wear berets or wave banners. You can always keep talking about bad governance in your conversations, in your family, TV stations, everywhere you find yourself. Don't say this one doesn't concern me. Because I'm living large today, I'm feeding 3 times a day. You don't need to wait till it happens to you before you speak up. Maybe some of these students never talked about protests. Maybe some of them never participated. Maybe some of them felt that they didn't need to. Some of them might have sided with the government, that these people were just trying to overthrow the government, or because they didn't win elections like they normally say. But you can never tell when it will happen to you. Thanks for watching.